if you were a first-time buyer, you had $50,000 to your name.
Yep.
In today's market, which route would you take?
I would keep the buffer. Once I'm in a home, make the first 6 to 12 payments, and I haven't burned through that extra, and I know I'm comfortable and I'm continuing to save, you still have the ability to put that money onto your loan. Although it won't save you that $50 per month, you're now ahead of schedule on paying down the principal of your loan.
I had a listing appointment on Monday in Elk Grove, and there's nothing better for me when I have my listing agent hat on. When I'm meeting with the seller and I have a CMA that I'm presenting and there's not a single active home for sale in my presentation folder.
That's great.
I'm showing them solds. In this particular situation, I brought, I think, 4 different sold properties, giving them an idea of how much their house is worth. But I'm looking at them, I'm like, I'm not trying to rush you, but let's get the house on the market.
If you want to be the only show in town, that is great.
You know what I mean? All right, man. Legacy Lounge. Sometimes people want to talk.
We have an incredible guest here.
What's up, brother?
The definition of the Legacy Lounge is the stuff that he's putting together. He's a great community leader. His story is amazing.
All right. Good to see you, man.
Hey, Happy New Year to you, big
Happy
dog.
New Year to you, man.
Man.
We got our first episode of the lounge. This is episode 41.
It is.
We'll call these our real estate talks.
Yep.
So you just got back from Kauai with the fam. We had New Year's, Christmas, so we haven't really been able to catch up. I want to get right into it. So what are you looking like right now with work, office, deals coming in? You know, you had mentioned to me, and I had told you before we started this that my phone's been ringing off the hook this week, which is a hallelujah. But what does your world look like right now? Because you had mentioned to me that you thought that, you know, with elections being over, that 2025 was going to be a big year, that we're going to start seeing some more buyer and seller activity. So what do things look like for you right now?
I still hold that to be true. However, interest rates haven't agreed with us yet. Even with that being said, it's normally dead period approaching Christmas and the New Year and everything like that. It's been exactly the opposite. Just at the turn of the new year, had 3 files that got into contract, all purchases. And, you know, you ask yourself, who's shopping around right now? There's plenty out there. And there's many more offers on my pre-approved clients that have kind of gone dark and put everything on hold for a while, are back and ready to go. And I think people are feeling the shift in the industry and want to get in before this next run.
Love it. So I know that one of those is Kendra's client.
Yes.
Buying a property in El Dorado Hills. So shout out Kendra.
Oh, yes.
She's got a new listing that's going to be hitting the market.
That's what I love to hear.
And that property she showed me is gorgeous. It's a fully remodeled property from top to bottom, gorgeous backyard in Hollywood Park that's going to be listing at $629. So, but tell us a little bit about those buyers, because Kendra told me like the loans are already done almost.
We have, so we got it submitted. It came out of underwriting within 24 hours. Immediately was able to order the CD. So the CD is out and signed, and we're talking about like I think we're technically on day 6 or 7 right now, but like the CD was out yesterday.
Was there like an appraisal waiver?
Appraisal waiver, so that helped.
What are they putting down?
20%.
Okay, so 20%, that helps. Obviously, the you guys ran it in your system. There was enough value with the property for the waiver to happen.
Correct. So, you know, once you put 20% or more down, you have a chance at a waiver, but it is still dependent on the amount of sales in the neighborhood as well as the borrower. So, strong borrowers, we have a condition list that literally has 3 things that I need from them: the earnest money deposit to clear, them to pick insurance, and then updated funds, because sometimes has elapsed is really what it is, and they're using a portion of the gift. Whenever I have an approval that I need to gather less than 5 things from a borrower, I know it's good to go. I followed up with them, and I know they're on top of it, but in reality, we could have been cleared to close yesterday.
So the next purchase offer that I write, am I getting your blessing that if need be, I can do a 12-day close of escrow?
I have no problem with 12-day closings if I speak with the client and they're on board that anytime I request something, they have it to me within 24 hours.
So it's got to be a very clean file, responsive clients, not some crazy loan with a bunch of Band-Aids and
Correct.
missing things here and there. But if it's a dialed file, they're responsive, 12 days.
Did you know that our turn times over the last 150 days with United Wholesale Mortgage, so this is company-wide, submission to clear to close, our company average has been 8.9 days.
I mean, I just want you to take a step back because I want to give shout out to Dr. Anthony Raymond. Can you just give it to me one more time?
8.9 days.
I'm talking about did you know? That's quick.
You
No.
know.
Shout out to the best chiropractor in town,
Yes,
Dr.
sir.
Anthony Raymond. That's crazy, man. That's really good news to hear. And like on that, this is what it makes me think of. I've said this time and time again in the past, maybe not last year because my business it's slowed down a little bit over the last couple years, but in the past 10 plus years, November and December were always really good months for me. And the first two properties that I bought for myself, the first one I closed escrow in December. The second one I closed escrow in November because traditionally what ends up happening is people start going on vacation, the holidays, and I think it's something to be said that I still think that we have a very small window with that right now. Would you agree?
Big time. Hey, you know when you get to negotiate the best? When everybody's just distracted. The sellers really need to sell. The buyers have opportunity because there's not a bunch of buyers out there. That's why you're negotiating your tail off right now, and we're getting the best that we can for our clients because of it.
Yeah. So, I bring that up just because it's nice to see, we mentioned Kendra's clients, but not having to get into a bidding war, being in a place where you're not necessarily slammed with 20 to 30 files right now, so you can get a clear to close in 8 days, right? So I think for the buyers and sellers that are out there listening to this is still a really good window. And I had a listing appointment on Monday in Elk Grove, and there's nothing better for me as a listing agent when I have my listing agent hat on, when I'm meeting with the seller and I have a CMA that I'm presenting and there's not a single active home for sale in my presentation folder.
That's great.
I'm showing them solds. In this particular situation, I brought, I think, 4 different sold properties, giving them an idea of how much their house is worth. But I'm looking at them, I'm like, I'm not trying to rush you, but let's get the house on the market.
If you want to be the only show in town, that is great.
You know what I mean? So that's something that I'm very excited about right now, working on a couple listings. So we got one that's going to be hitting the market soon, probably in the next 3 weeks. They're going to be doing some work to the property, but it's in one of the better neighborhoods in all of Elk Grove Laguna. It's called Lakeside. The house is in a gated community, and it's a single story. We're going to be hitting the market somewhere between a price of $550 and $580. So really good price point for a first-time home buyer. Want to switch gears. I ran into a buddy of mine yesterday who's purchasing a property. Look, they're pre-approved with you.
Correct.
So they're going to be purchasing a property. This is like a topic that, I have had quite a few times throughout my career, but they've been very diligent with their savings. And the question is this: they have 20% down, right?
Yes.
They've saved 20% down, but they still have other things in their life, like lots of us do, which are some credit card debt, some auto loans, some different things here and there. And he had asked me, he's like, if we go to buy a house, should I put all of this 20% down? I said, have you thought about maybe putting 10% down? At the end of the conversation, it was like, let me just call Rene and I'll chat with Rene about this and just get his take on it, get to see the payment side by side. But where I was going with it is, if you had like $400,000 to $500,000 in savings in the bank, to me, it kind of makes sense at that point. Absolutely put 20% down.
Yep.
But if you're pretty much tapped out around that 20% down, that's what you have in savings. why wouldn't you entertain maybe putting, entertain putting 10% down, paying off that credit card debt? What is your take on that when you have a client that's thinking about that?
I love your thought process on that. And the reality of the situation, I'm going to say a lot of similar things as I do at other times we have these updates. I try to take the emotion out of it because when the facts are on the table, they can make confident decisions, right? In your example that you talked about, we're talking about some credit cards here. And for the majority of credit cards out there, that's the first thing that we should take a swing at. Car payments, you can see if the interest rate, a lot of interest rates are lower than what mortgages are, but it's case by case. With that being said, on a $700K property, with they're putting 20% down versus 10% down, so that's a $70,000 difference of cash out of their pocket to go that route. Putting 10% less down changes their payment about $600 per month. So we're talking about $7,200 per year to not have to take $70,000 out of your pocket. That $70,000 can be used towards eliminating credit card debt, as well as car if they choose to, as well as give some cushion for them. But at the end of the day, what are you able to write off on your taxes? Mortgage interest, not credit card interest, not credit card payments, not car payments. So it's something that I'm glad we're able to get in front of them because I think it can help them a lot.
Yeah, I mean, now as I was thinking about this, for the average consumer that has maybe $500,000 in savings, they probably don't have credit card debt.
Bingo.
Right? So I'm looking at on the last purchase, the two last purchases that I had, where I knew that I was going to be, the house that I'm in now, you did the loan for about 4 years ago. I put 10% down.
Yep.
Little bit easier decision for me than buyers right now because rates were around 3.5%, 4%.
Yep.
Right. But my big thing was I knew that I was going to be having to do a huge 6-figure renovation on my property before I even moved into it. So I needed that capital.
Correct.
But I think it's something good just to broadcast. It's not that I'm not a fan of somebody putting 20% down, but I do think that it's important to spread the message that you don't have to put 20% down when you buy a home.
Correct. And sound financial decisions include more than just what's going on your mortgage. So if you have the ability to square away the bigger financial picture, that's what you do.
Yeah.
That's a sound financial decision.
Yep, for sure. All right. So another example I want to chat about is working with the first-time buyer.
Yep.
So first-time buyer, got a chance to link up with this incredibly great person. They have managed to save over the last, we'll call it year and a half, about $50,000. And I'm like, man, kudos to you. That's a lot of money that you've plunked away. Now they're ready to buy a home.
Yep.
Obviously going into it with, rates aren't necessarily the sexiest right now. They're between 6.5% and 7%.
Correct. 6.5 is the FHA version of it. 7% is right around what conventional is. No buy downs is what I'm talking about.
Yep. So, basically his whole question to me yesterday was, I got this $50,000. I'm going to put all $50,000, down to purchase this home. And I stopped him and I said, well, how are you coming up? Like, why are you thinking that you have to put all of that down? He's like, well, because I want the lowest payment possible. I'm like, well, I would challenge you, to just kind of look at both pictures. Picture number one, you can purchase a home putting 3.5% down, going FHA, right? If you had to pay for your own closing costs, the total out of pocket for that, scenario is right around $35,000.
Yep.
You get to save $15,000 in your bank.
That's right.
If they went 5% down, going conventional and paying their own closing costs, that they're pretty much spending that entire $50,000. So want to get your take on that. You crunch the numbers, but the difference in payment on those two scenarios, FHA, 3.5% down versus conventional 5% down, is $50 a month.
That's crazy, right? You think that that extra amount down would make that much of a difference, but we just said that the interest rate's a little bit lower on FHA. I know listing agents don't love FHA offers, but they're way more lenient in underwriting. It's harder to get conventional files through unless you put more money down. So it's a safer loan, to be honest. But for the borrower to keep extra money in their pocket, and it's only $50 difference per month, that's game changing, because you know what a first time home buyer doesn't recognize? That there's expenses that they're not probably wrapping their brain around, and the flexibility of some more cash in the pocket to make sure that they're not stressed out of their mind after buying, that goes a long way too, man.
So if you were a first time buyer, you had $50,000 to your name.
Yep.
In today's market, which route would you take?
I would keep the buffer for sure. Once I'm in a home, make the first 6 to 12 payments, and I haven't burned through that extra, and I know I'm comfortable and I'm continuing to save, you still have the ability to put that money onto your loan. Although it won't save you that $50 per month, you're now ahead of schedule on paying down the principal of your loan. Putting lump sums of money towards your monthly payment cuts years off your term and saves you thousands and thousands of dollars over the life of the loan. So that's the route I would go, knowing what I know.
So FHA. So here's the question. I don't know why I always brain fart on this, but if somebody's in an FHA loan, the mortgage insurance doesn't at any point automatically go away. Is that correct?
That is correct. It wasn't always the case, though.
Okay.
So that's new.
Okay. So let's pretend I help this buyer. We get them into a property, sales price, we'll call it just under the average sales price in Sacramento. I believe the average sales price in Sacramento is right around $560,000.
That sounds right.
So let's say we get them in a little bit below that, right around $500,000. The total payment out the door for where rates are at today is basically $3,950 a month.
Correct.
So just under $4,000 a month. We encourage them. We all stay encouraged that hopefully rates will drop.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden they've been in their house for 1 year. Rates drop by 1.5%. They refi. Now, when they refi, do they refi and stay into an FHA loan, or can they refi into a conventional loan?
They could do either or, and we give them both options. So if there's enough equity in the home to where we can get rid of the mortgage insurance, conventional really makes a lot of sense. If it hasn't appreciated enough over that time to hit that 20% mark, it might be close, and there's some ways to still get rid of the mortgage insurance that way. But a lot of the times, the blueprint is start with an FHA loan. Next step is to do an FHA streamline loan, which is no appraisal, no income docs, just lower the rate.
Let's go.
Super easy. Don't even have to roll anything into it. Get to credit for the rate chosen. That's a way to get that middle step. Let's just save you money. Then when we know that there's enough time, enough equity in the home, that's when we switch over to a conventional loan. So everybody gets caught up on that. Hey, mortgage insurance doesn't drop by itself. The amount of people who actually stay in the same loan until the mortgage insurance drops off, even on conventional financing, is minimal. As soon as there's enough equity in it, even if you had conventional already, you're looking to refinance to quickly get the rate down and get the mortgage insurance off instead of waiting for that term. So one way or another, you're probably going to refinance into conventional anyway. So I love to start with FHA for first-time home buyers because we have that path that I just laid out to you.
Yep, I love it. I mean, if I'm a buyer, I'm just kind of looking at what's my payment going to be.
Yeah.
You know, mortgage, like if the mortgage insurance is part of my payment, so be it. I'm just looking for rates to drop so that hopefully my payment will go down by like $1,000 a month.
100%. I got a ton of clients saying exactly that right now, man. Rates have been tricky. Rates have been real tricky. The Fed just met again and had their conversations about what's going on and why the slowdown of the rates coming down. Well, you know, the election made a big difference, and zero politically about this. I'm just repeating what the Fed stated about what happened with the election. They are in full-on wait-and-see mode because of worrying about what's going to happen to inflation. Is inflation going to continue to go in the right direction, or will tariffs hamper that? As well as the cost of goods, as well as the cost of labor because of possible mass deportations. Regardless of policy, regardless of politics, that's what the Fed said. So they're on standby mode, which means we might have to wait a little bit longer to enjoy this big run that we have coming, but it's coming.
So we can't necessarily predict that rates are going to be going down next month, is what I'm hearing. We might have to kind of sit tight for a while.
Yeah, we might have to wait till the spring and summertime sun to come out before we see something significant. But we're gonna have some things that happened where we'll have an opportunity for the people who had purchased their home at the height. They'll be able to take that baby step down, maybe save a half a point, maybe save 0.625%, even before everybody starts raving about where the rates go. So it's not the end of the world. It just keeps getting pushed back. But financial markets and what's going on in the labor market is making all the difference in the world to the Fed. So they're, once again, wait and see mode.
I still think that what it rises and falls on right now, and I'll keep on saying this, is the ultimate need for you to buy or sell a home.
Correct.
Like it kind of makes, I'm not going to say irrelevant. It makes what the rates are irrelevant, but if your need is strong enough, it can be a phenomenal thing for you to put your house on the market, sell your house, and then purchase another house. We talked about in the beginning where, I mentioned credit cards. Like, I want to paint a picture of, there's somebody out there that owns a home. I actually have a client. I'm going to a listing appointment on Saturday, and I was like flabbergasted. I helped her buy this property, and I'm not even saying that this is her, but I'm just giving this example. But I helped her buy this property 15 years ago. She was a first-time home buyer, single mom, and I ran the numbers. She currently right now has close to $400,000 in equity. Like, can we just take a moment of silence real quick for that? I mean, that's crazy. $400,000 of equity, and I know that there is a lot of other people out there that fit that same situation. Who knows? Maybe they don't have $200,000 in savings.
Yep.
Maybe they have some debt that they've accrued. So I think for the people out there that have a need where, yeah, if I sell my house and buy a new house, my payment might be $4,000 a month versus the payment I have now, which is $1,500 a month. But if I could knock out student loans, if I can knock out this credit card debt that I have, if I can go on that vacation that I've always wanted to go on, I think that there's a huge opportunity for that right now. And also just looking at the big picture that the rate is not going to be the forever rate.
Correct.
So you can refi out of it, or there's other examples. There's people out there that have been living in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home. Maybe they now just had their second child and living in a 900 to 1,000 square foot home for the last 7-8 years. They got by on it, but now they have 2 kids and it's time for a bigger property. You know what I mean?
100%.
So there's still examples out there that I think we're going to see a lot more of. I think people are just kind of accepting the fact, and even going to like the people in our industry that have been doing this longer than us.
Yep.
They're looking at a lot of this and just laughing because they're like, are you really looking at a 6.5 interest rate?
And bonking at it?
And bonking at it. I mean, going through when rates were 10, 11, 12%. So I just think that there's still a ton of opportunities. I think that Sacramento is a city where there's so much good stuff happening in our city. We just need to see more inventory. And once we start seeing some more inventory, I think we're going to start seeing a lot of beautiful things coming to fruition.
But that's exactly why the housing market is so strong right now. You talked about people and their families getting bigger and everything. Straight up, Anthony Raymond again. Did you know that we are so out of whack in household formations compared to new houses being built and multifamilies being built? The supply and demand is nowhere near where it needs to be.
Yep.
That's why the housing market, through the worst interest rates we've seen in forever, has stayed strong and gaining value even still. And the baby boomers that were late to the party for household formations are there now. There's so many more that need houses because they're getting married, they're having kids, and they need their space. So that's why real estate is going to continue to be extremely strong around us.
Love it. Well, what else do we got? I mean, I wanted to now we've been able to chop it up about real estate and just kind of give the lay of the land. My phone's been ringing. You've been staying busier than normal, even in a time of the year where normally it's still a little quiet. So that's good. I'm seeing these are all good signs that are pointing towards a lot of good activity. But sports world.
Can we start with something, man?
Yeah.
Can you never, ever, ever talk about my team again on this thing, man?
I know.
Since you brought them up,
I know.
my team basically stopped playing basketball, man. Don't even start to say Warriors. Don't say it no more, man. They're trash now. As soon as you said it, I knew I was doomed, man.
For the people that are listening to this that need reference on this, anytime I make a prediction, I basically curse that team. Anytime that I decide to make, I'm not really a gambler at all, but I'll make an occasional parlay, and I pretty much lose every time.
You're going streaking, man. You're going streaking.
It's bad. I think I am going to make a parlay, though, for the upcoming weekend of football games. I'd like to run it by you real quick.
Okay. What you thinking?
So I'm going to pull it up.
These are some tough games against the spread.
They are, but I have. How about this? How about this?
Okay.
If we agree 100%, I say we go in a parlay together on this.
All right, man. I'm down to throw some money down the drain.
And Nate's gonna join us. Nate, how much money do you got to put on a parlay? Are you connected to audio?
Oh yeah.
This is amazing. He's finally doing
He's
what
like,
we
on
wanted.
me or in the bank?
So if we
On me, $0.
On the Venmo. So if we do a parlay together, how much money can you put towards the parlay?
It depends.
It's not a trick question, bro. Just give me a number.
$30.
Okay. $30.
Here's the thing. If we figure out something that I feel comfortable with, I'm gonna match his 30 for him.
Oh wow, this is amazing. Okay, so here we go. Let's start it.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna go down the line and I'll pick and then you pick.
Okay.
Chargers, Texans. I'm taking the Chargers.
Okay. It's so
that
game worries me. I know Houston hasn't been playing well, but they're the ones at home.
They are at home.
And Stroud hasn't been the man, but he's a dude.
Can I just say my takes on it?
Yeah, please do, of course.
The Texans' defense is just not the same this year. That's number one. Number
call.
two, something is off with Stroud, and it's been off all year. And he's not the same quarterback. Having Diggs out, I think, is a big one. I can even go as far to say the last 3 games of the season, Mixon hasn't been the same. I just think on the Chargers side, there's something special about Harbaugh. I just think he's a phenomenal coach. I think that Herbert's been playing some of his best ball. And the Chargers defense is sneaky, bro. They got some dogs.
I'm definitely in because all signs point to the Chargers. When I see my hesitation, as bad as Stroud has looked, when I see a dude, I see a dude. Somebody like him who's been that dog before, sometimes I swear they step up in big time. So that's all I'm scared of because he's a dude.
Chargers, Texans. Who you got?
I mean, I'll roll with you at the Chargers.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
Steelers at Ravens.
I mean, it's Ravens all day. I'm scared of the spread, but shoot.
9.5 is big.
9.5 is humongous in the playoffs.
Yeah. I think that at the end of the day, the Steelers had a really good start to the year. And they just you're getting to see they've been exposed. And
My prediction is they're going to break out Fields and try to make this different.
I could not disagree more.
They haven't been playing well. If you roll in there,
You're going to put in Fields during the playoffs?
you're going to sprinkle them in.
Okay.
The reason being, you just lost 5 in a row.
They have no running back.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You need him to be your running back, basically.
Ravens by 21.
Yeah.
Okay. Broncos at Bills.
Bills.
Bills all day. Here's a kind of tricky one, but at the same time, I don't think it's tricky. But Packers at Eagles.
It is tricky, man.
Oh, man, you're crazy.
It is tricky.
So John Burke's been giving me shit on this. Like
Hurts is still in protocol.
Yeah. So John's been giving me shit on it that I like Jordan Love.
I think the Packers are really good.
You think they're really good?
Yes.
Okay. I think the Packers have a very mediocre defense. That's the thing. Love, man, like he was fighting me on this. Like John was telling me that he didn't even think Love was a top 10 QB. I was like, you're tripping.
No, I think that's
QBR. He's in the top 5.
I'd put him give or take around the 10-12.
Okay. Who would you rather take, Jordan Love or Brock Purdy?
Love.
That's what I said. I said Love. Nate?
I'd agree.
Dang.
As much as I
Okay.
love Purdy, I would agree.
Well, anyways, this is my thing. I mean, we're gonna go back to defense real quick. Did you see when
Philly's the better team.
Oh my gosh,
Philly's the better team, and they should win. But the Packers scare. When you have a running back, and both running backs are dope, but when you get the running back like Jacobs, that they just keep feeding him, that's playoff football, man. Controlling the clock.
It's gonna be different against the Eagles in Philadelphia. That's number one. Number two, please don't ever bring up Jacobs versus a Saquon Barkley. Let's not even do that.
Saquon ain't done nothing. He had a great year, and he played on a bad team before. He got to show me.
Damn, this dude's brutal, huh? Crazy. Okay, well, I'm taking the Eagles.
I'm down with it. They should win.
All right. This is the last two. So this is where it gets fun. The
Last two.
Hey, we have 2 more to go.
How many games are this weekend? Aren't there 4 games?
No, we have 2 more to go. There's one on Monday.
Okay. So there's 6 games?
Yeah, 6.
Oh, wow.
Let me finish this off real quick. You're
Okay.
making it awkward.
Sorry.
All right. So Commanders at Tampa Bay. I'm going with Commanders for various reasons. So
Do we have to pick all games? I don't even like this game. I think Tampa Bay is a better team. They're at home. You got a rookie quarterback.
Here's what
Commanders ain't done nothing ever.
You know what we should do? We should make different parlays and just see how it goes.
Okay.
So who would you take, Commanders or Bucks?
I don't really like this game.
that's what I was saying.
No,
Do we
no,
have to
no.
even bet this game?
But nobody does. But here's what I want to say. The biggest dog in the NFL this year in the quarterback position, outside of the top 3 names that you would, say, I mean, outside of Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and I guess Patrick Mahomes. You got to say Patrick Mahomes, even though statistically Patrick Mahomes is not probably even in the top 10. Throws a lot of picks. Is Jaden Daniels. So
do you want to go look at the numbers versus what the hell is it? Tampa Bay's quarterback?
Brock, Baker.
Baker. Why don't you go look at their numbers against each other? Who do you think
Against
had
each other?
better numbers?
Oh, you're talking about just for the season. Who? Oh, Baker. He should.
Well, what you mean he should? I mean, you just made it seem like you were talking about this great quarterback. Baker got better numbers.
So at the end of the day, it's going to go back to what you always say. He hasn't done nothing. Show me. Baker has barely done anything in the playoffs ever. I mean, what has he won? One playoff game?
One last year.
Okay. And then he got beat by the Lions. So I think Daniels he can do way more than Baker. He's got more rushing touchdowns. I think Daniels has 8 rushing touchdowns on the year, which is crazy. There's 6 or 8, I forget. Yes, Mike Evans is elite. That's awesome. Bucky has proven to be a really good running back. The Bucks D is mid. They have a mid D. So I'm gonna go Commanders just because I'm high on Daniels, and I think that the Redskins are playing very good football right now.
Yeah, I'm not a believer.
Okay, so you're gonna go with Bucks.
Bucks for me.
Okay, last game. This is another fun one. Vikings versus Rams.
So here's the thing. The Monday night games, we would have to wait for our parlay for 2 weeks if we put that in, just for you, so you know, because things end on Sunday. So we might want to get the first 4 for the weekend on a parlay. Don't really like the Commanders anyway. And then the last game is?
The last game's Vikings at Rams.
Oh, man. Sam Darnold looked like Sam Darnold last game, man. They're the better team. They should win, but why am I not a believer? He looked bad last game.
He looked bad last game, and you know what's so crazy? Like,
everybody been waiting for it.
Once you put a scheme of we're just going to blitz all game, he is such a different quarterback. He does not know how to scramble. He's not a mobile quarterback.
Yeah.
The Vikings defense, to me,
not that Stafford is either, though, but
Stafford is the man. He is, dude. I hate to say it.
He can't run either, but he's the man.
Well, he can run a little bit better than Darnold.
No, they both suck at running.
Is it because they're white?
I mean,
a little bit.
I mean,
there's a little bit.
White boys can run too. You know what I'm saying? Just not those 2 white boys.
What's your take on that, Nate?
Josh Allen? Josh Allen?
Josh Allen can run, yeah.
Man, come on, man.
He's special.
Stop hating on your brothers, man.
Top 2 defenses in the NFL are Vikings and Eagles.
Yeah.
So the Vikings do have a very good defense. They, outside of Jamar Chase, who's the best wide receiver in the NFL, number 2 goes to Jefferson. I mean, he's crazy.
Jefferson might be the best, man. Like I mean, he made Darnold. He's gonna get Darnold paid. We were literally
not by Minnesota.
I bet you Minnesota pays him.
I couldn't disagree more.
No, I definitely. He's going to get a good offer from them. Maybe get more
to be a starter or a backup.
Starter.
No, they drafted McCarthy. McCarthy's going to be their starter.
14-3. That's stupid.
All right,
that's dumb to get off of that.
We're going to revisit
14-3. When the last time they've been 14-3?
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is we were drafting in fantasy, and Jefferson's up there. People are drafting, and we're laughing like, who's going to throw him the ball?
I was one of those guys in Cam.
And this fool balled out.
I
Darnold.
know.
That's how good of a receiver he is. He had Darnold balling.
Darnold looked really, really good all year long.
And last game was the only time he didn't look good.
Yeah. No, but he's a good quarterback, I think. I don't know. There's some stuff.
I mean, I've never once said that in the rest of his career.
By the way, let's go backtrack because I forgot about saying this on the Bucks Commanders game. Let's keep in mind that the Bucks played at home last week, the last game of the season, which was a must-win for them, and they barely beat a Saints team. So I don't know, man. I think that there's something going on with the Bucks. I think that they're just going to do what they normally do, which is losing the playoffs. But
I don't like either of the Monday games.
What that?
I'm just betting wise.
There's the Commanders game Sunday.
Oh, it is Sunday? Okay.
Yeah. So you're saying that we can't run a parlay on a Saturday, Sunday, Monday game?
You can, for sure, but Monday starts the new week. So if whatever the win or the loss doesn't apply until that following week.
Oh, that's okay.
No, that's fine.
So Vikings, Rams, who do you got?
Vikings.
I got Rams. Okay, So and
With all that Darnold talk, and he's like, I got Rams.
yeah, so it's weird, man. Like, I just think that with Rams at home, maybe, but maybe not. But they might not be at home though, because I heard
Rams at home.
with the Fires, LA, they're talking about potentially moving the game to
oh,
Arizona. So I'm not sure. Like, even if they went to Arizona, they'd probably still have more of a turnout.
I forgot they didn't win. I was thinking it was in Minnesota the whole
Oh
time.
no, that Lions game, that's what did it, because the Rams won the division.
You're 100% right. That was just me, because the Rams have been middle of the pack the whole. They won their division.
Let's just face it too. When it comes to basketball and baseball, you know more than me. When it comes to football, I'm just a little bit more versed than you. I'm a little bit more well versed than you. So
that sounds stupid. I'm sorry.
It's just a fact. And also, you were really high on Antonio. Is it Pierce? What's your?
I wasn't that high.
You
on
were
him.
high on him.
I like him a lot. But I mean,
You said the Raiders were going to have a really good season.
I
and
did think they were.
He was,
having a better
and then
season.
Antonio was the man, and this and that. Do you think they fired him too quickly?
It was absolutely idiotic to even give him the job if you were going to fire him after this season. He has no quarterback. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, it's true.
What are you supposed to do?
It's true.
Like setting somebody up for failure? That's what I'm looking at around. Do you know that the Raiders next year will be paying 4 different head coaches at the same time?
What is the? Oh my gosh! Because they've kept on letting these coaches go.
They got issues, man.
Can I tell you one of my biggest dreams in life is to get paid and not have to work?
Go coach the Raiders. You're I guarantee you get there. But that's
Okay,
a crazy stat.
So here's what we're gonna do, and we'll post it, and this will be amazing. You play a parlay on your picks.
Okay.
I'll play it on mine, then we'll share it, and we'll see how well we both did.
All right, we get to show 2 losers.
You're so
Whose
negative.
is worse?
You're such a negative person.
I got one question. What do you guys think Brock Purdy gets paid this offseason? Selfish question for me, because I know you're a little.
I think
I'm not a Brock Purdy believer. He's better. He's better than he should be, but he's not. He's what he is. But he still will get paid really well. The going market for quarterbacks, even when they're not the highest end, is way up there. I think he will get $50 million.
Yeah, I think he's going to get.
Because 60 is the top, right? 60, 62. I think he'll be a $50 million guy.
With the Niners, you think, or do you think someone else?
They're gonna. I bet you the Niners offer him 47,
and then someone
48,
offer him more,
and he'd be dumb to take the other. I don't think he's gonna shine nowhere else.
Yeah, so I think Brock's going to be in San Francisco for many, many years. I think they're going to pay him 55 is what I'm thinking.
Here's my question to you. Now, you think that he's going to be there for many, many years. What do you think the coaches of the Rams and the rest of that conference think that he's going to be the quarterback for years? Do you think they're happy or sad?
I mean, it's kind of a unique question. I don't know. Why do you think they're happy?
The reason why I asked that is because we all get caught up in our teams, right? Mm-hmm. And, I guarantee when they re-signed Daniel Jones in New York, the whole rest of that conference was like, yeah. I just always put myself on the other side. It's if you're scheming against the Niners.
I cannot believe in a million years that you just used an example of
I'm talking about any trade. I just got the one that popped up in my head. Any signing, when you're scheming against a team and you have the players that are over there, when they re-sign a Debo and stuff like that, I'm like, I'm just that's my litmus test on
maybe I'm not
if a signing makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
And maybe
if Sean McVay, I bet you Sean McVay's gonna be happy that they signed him instead of going out and getting somebody like they got a team that could even this year had enough to go to the Super Bowl.
Who did?
The Niners with a different quarterback, in my opinion.
Gosh, dude,
on paper, you sure? I think
injuries, of course.
I mean, injuries. We're talking about like half of the starting squad combined on offense and defense was injured. I think that things like, here's what I'm gonna say. If you got a really half-assed defense, it's gonna affect the offense because the offense is gonna be on the field for much longer. That's number one. Number two, CMC being out, that hurt.
Offense on the field longer is a good thing. So
Yes.
Really?
you want to control the ball. So that's a dumb statement.
Damn it.
He's well versed, way well.
That's why
versed
having a
in it.
good defense is great because then. You
Okay,
get
what I
offense
meant
on
to
the-
what I meant to
offense on the
what I
field.
meant to say is defense giving up too much points is not good.
Of course not. Of
Okay.
course not.
But also,
So-
you couldn't score in the end zone.
So
couldn't
I mean,
They
there
couldn't score.
there was that. Funny enough, the CMC injury wasn't even the big injury for us this year, for the Niners. It wasn't because the first 6 games of the season without CMC, Jordan was
The running backs did great.
Jordan was balling.
I agree.
We had some injuries in the offensive line. We had BA getting out was pretty big, but a lot of players out on the defensive end. Here's what I'm gonna say about Brock, real quick, so I get it out. Brock took us to the Super Bowl last year. Brock did some amazing things. The first, I think, 7 games of this season, he was in the top 2, top 3 in all categories. Brock played good. The downside that I saw time and time again, the 2 things that scare me the most about Brock, probably more tip passes that you're going to see. Like way too many tip
That
passes.
doesn't go away. It's his size.
That scares me. But the second thing that scares me is he throws a lot of lob passes.
Yes.
It looks like it's like
His turnovers were cringy.
his turnovers cringy, but I'm talking about like he doesn't have an arm.
Yeah.
Like, so that's going to be having to take into consideration. But at the end of the day, he's only played 2 full seasons. So I think that there's something to be said there. I think what Brock's strong suit is I think he's not a good, but like a great scrambler. He gets out of the pocket and moves really well. Seriously. So I think I'm not 100% sold on him. That's the weird thing, but let me propose this. Aaron Rodgers to San Francisco. I think the Niners could be in the top 3. This is my thing. I'm not sold on Rodgers 100% type stuff, but if you told me that we were signing a 1-year deal with Aaron Rodgers, I would take it and run because Aaron can get you to the Super Bowl. Aaron with those weapons would be ridiculous. Aaron would most likely, if he came to San Francisco, would bring Devontae with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get Brock getting to learn under Aaron Rodgers for a full year. I think that'd be good for Brock.
Yeah, you couldn't pay both, though. I mean, if you got Aaron, you wouldn't have Brock.
Right.
Brock would be somewhere else.
And the longer the offense stays on, the better.
That's right, Chris. When you hit the golf ball that way, what is that?
That is a draw. That's a
Still
fade.
gets it
Well, you just pointed.
that way.
Okay, that way. That's a fade. All
My
right.
golf balls go that way.
Episode 41. Good to see you, man.
All right.
Gone.